Welcome back, beautiful people. This is another episode of An Untold Narrative. This week's show is a little bit different. There is no guest. It is just me talking. And the reason for that is because, truth be told, I woke up this morning and realized that at the time of this recording, in just a few weeks, I will hit my 10-year anniversary of being in the sneaker industry or the footwear industry or just my professional working career in general. And being 10 years in anything, let alone sneakers, let alone design, is remarkable. And I've been extremely fortunate to have tremendous opportunities. And I wanted to share some of my key learnings over the past 10 years. These are all very spontaneous bullets. I literally woke up and started thinking to myself and reflecting on my experiences, on my travels, on my successes, on my low points, on my high points, etc., etc. And so here we are. And I'm stoked, and I couldn't have thought of a better way to communicate how I feel about the moment than on my podcast. And so episode 118 is going to be just me talking. And so here are the 10 things that I've learned in a decade of discipline. Number one, your self-worth is not monetary. For the longest time early on in my career, I correlated my success with promotions and money advancements. And I know it's really hard, especially for people early on in their careers, to not think this way. But I'm going to show you an image here. This is my first contract. Came through July 3rd as an offer with a start date of July 14th, 2024. You can see the $42,000 a year. Back then wasn't a lot of money, and today it's definitely not a lot of money. But I used to equate, how far I was going with how much money I was making, and I was dead wrong. And it took me the past 5 years to discover this and really hone in on it. Your worth comes from the way that you treat people and the way that others treat you, and the respect that you have amongst one another. It's definitely not anything to do with money or salary or promotions. The kindness that's shown amongst your peers and your colleagues, even on online platforms, that is worth. That is self-worth. Number two is be seen. This has helped me consistently. And be seen, not always in the sense of just social media and like putting your work out there. And while the social media landscape has vastly changed over the past 10 years, 10 years ago when you posted designs, it was seen by a lot more people. There was a really small, tight-knit community, it felt like, of some of the, I'll call them Instagram footwear design OGs. It was a different landscape. And it helped then, and it still can help today. It's just a much different format. And I highly recommend anybody getting going or continuing their career, consistently put your stuff out there. Because it's what makes us us. It's what separates you from the norm. It's what separates you from the 99%. Your perspective, your opinions. And so when I say be seen, it's also if you are now in a hybrid economy and you go in 3 days a week, show up early, stay late, be seen by the CEO, be seen by your directors. I feel like we've gone so far away from that. And I'm the biggest advocate of mental health and not making sure that you prioritize yourself and not burning out. But there is something to be said about showing up, being seen, before and after others leave or show up, it means that you're there, you care, you're passionate about what you do. If you want to progress at a faster rate and be different than the norm, if you want to traditionally work a 9 to 5, then I'm not going to tell you otherwise. I think that's a beautiful thing. But if you're looking to get an edge or do something different, I would highly recommend being seen in as many different ways as possible. Number 3, say yes. It is an absolute privilege to say both yes and to be able to say no whenever you want. Saying no more specifically, especially later on in your career, when you don't necessarily need to do something for money specifically to pay rent or to, support your lifestyle or whatever it is. But early on, say yes. And continue to say yes to things that excite you. I used to say yes to every single project. I used to say this, I remember like within my first year, my workload was so stupidly heavy. And a new project came through our development manager, and she was like, Dave, are you sure you can handle this? And I remember my reaction would always be like, let's party. And I would take it on because I was so innately passionate about it. And those led to future opportunities. You don't see them in the moment, but you do see them over time. Say yes to trips. You might not want to get on a flight that's 17 hours long to Guangzhou, China, back-to-back times in a matter of like 5 weeks during summer months. But you do it and you have amazing experiences. Even now, later in my career, I still say yes to a lot of things because I know there's opportunities there. And so I would highly recommend, I know there's a big stop saying yes movement, and I myself need to stop saying yes in certain aspects of my life. But when you're early on, especially, say yes to as many things as you can. Number 4, take risks. Man, I wish I listened to other people or I wish even podcasts were as, normalized as they are today, or YouTube videos as they are today as the back 10 years ago. Because if somebody told me to take more risks, I wish I would. And I still did take a number of risks that I remember, but I wish I took more. And a risk doesn't mean, jumping ship and changing jobs. A risk can be you're in a meeting amongst a bunch of directors or in a large format setting with your CEO and global representatives or whatever it is, and they're asking or talking about a subject matter that you inherently know because you've worked on it. Speak up. Give them your opinion. It doesn't matter where you stack on the ladder. Raise your voice. You might and you probably will say the wrong thing, but you'll learn from it. And then people know who you authentically are. And that's really what it's all about. And you can trend set and you can be different and you can gain advancements and you can do all these things by being inherently you in the right formats. And so taking risks, whether that's, speaking up, or that is changing jobs, right? So many of us like the comfort. I left my job after 8 years and joined a startup 2 years ago. And so that inherently was a risk that I'm very stoked to say I am very happy with, and I'm stoked that I did it. And I think back and I'm like, man, what if I took bigger risks? And moving forward in my career and moving forward in life, I think taking risks is a huge bonus. And I think people should do it because I think the time horizon that we're going to be around and working is a lot longer than people think. And so there's plenty of room to restart if you need to. Number 5, do really nice things for a lot of people. And I don't mean doing them just to do them. I mean, really be nice. For the longest time early on, I used to send people gifts of different products before seating was really a thing, in my opinion, where I'd handwrite a card, even on like a branded piece of paper. It wasn't even like a nice index card or anything like that. It was just like a ripped out of my notebook, handwritten, sent. Those go a long way. It's not just a DM. It's not just a thank you email. There's inherent deep levels of personality and kindness. And that can take you so far, and it's not just about the gifts. It's about, calling somebody. It's about following up with somebody of, hey, I really appreciated meeting you at that trade show. I would love to get on a phone call and just like hear more about your life. It's really the reason why I do this podcast, is because I like building those relationships and being selfless and just giving people a platform to talk is amazing. And that's a small act of kindness, in my opinion. And so do nice things. It's super rewarding and it makes you feel really good. You can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. AKA patience. And this is something, that phrase was said to me about a year ago from one of my best friends. And it clicked. It was like a trigger for me because I never thought about it that way. We can do as much as we want in our life, in our careers. We just can't do everything at the same time. And I'm a very ambitious person, and I have these incredible goals year over year, and I don't get to all of them because it's not possible, especially at the rate that I want them to happen. And so it shouldn't deter you from doing these things or setting those goals. It's just recognizing that, hey, they're going to take a lot longer than I think, and that's okay. Number 7, try new things. This forever has worked out in my favor. Early on in my career, I was always willing to learn not only design skills, but development skills. Okay, what does the developer do? Okay, what does the manager kind of look at? What kind of meetings are they having? Why are they having those kinds of meetings? What is the proper way to talk to a client? What is the wrong thing to say to a client? All that curiosity early on in my career allowed for so much advancement and so much growth. But also externally, trying new things. I got a job teaching art classes, which has then resulted in a pretty fruitful side art gig career that I'm super passionate about and I really enjoy doing. But also, you never know if you're good at sewing until you try sewing, and you never know if that'll lead to you starting your own brand or pottery or whatever it is. Like, there's so many great examples of professionals who go out of their normal scope of work. I think the most famous person within the sneaker industry that does it is Salehi. And, you see him launching pottery now. And it's just because he did it out of curiosity and out of love of trying something new. And I think that's really amazing. I mean, talk about somebody who's had incredible success and probably doesn't need to sell pottery because he doesn't need to. But he's doing it for himself. And then as a result, because it has that authentic flavor to it, it is like, hey, and it's in his style, people resonate with it. And so you don't try these things in hopes of selling. You try 15 of them, one of them sticks, and then in the future, it might result in any sort of monetary value, if that's something of what you want to do. Try new things. It's kind of like Trader Joe's. You walk into or Costco, for those who don't have a Trader Joe's. You walk in and they usually have a little stand that allows you to try new foods. Did you know Trader Joe's sees a 2,000% sales growth when they have that product on display for people to try in microbits? It's their biggest marketing expense because they lose out on food, but it's also their biggest sales driver for a specific item. Try new shit. You never know what you're going to like and what you're going to buy and bring home with you. Pretty simple. Number 8, surround yourself with greatness. And I don't mean rich and famous people. While yes, if that's what you want, you should do that. But I mean greatness in the sense of like people that you really deeply fuck with. Like who in your environment do you look up to and that you want to surround yourself with and gives you amazing energy after you talk to them? Those are the people you should focus in on. If you're an artist, don't only surround yourself with artists, because a lot of artists aren't doing great. Surround yourself with the artist that is more positive or is having success, okay? And then talk to them about, hey, what are you doing differently that is providing you so much value? And learn from them and surround yourself with them and set up quarterly meetings and do these things. Our environment is so critically important. I wish I knew that earlier in my career because I would have changed my habits earlier in my career. I've only really hyper-focused in on this. Like I do this all the time. Every once in a while, I will unfollow somebody from high school primarily on Instagram because I'm tired of seeing their baby pop up. And their baby and their life, while they're great people, bring me no value. I don't want to see somebody else's baby when I'm on social media. It's not mean. It's just I don't want that in my life. And so surrounding yourself with what you truly, deeply need is hypercritical. Number 9, mistakes are inevitable. You're going to fuck up. You're going to send the wrong email and you're going to get slapped on the wrist and you're going to piss off a client and you're going to do these things and you're going to design a shitty product that you're unhappy with and that you wish you did it differently. These things are going to happen. But guess what? A couple models back, I'm going to guess like 4 or 5 years ago now, I think pre-pandemic, the iPhone used to have a power button at the top of the phone. I don't know how many people remember. They released this iPhone, entered a bunch of people's purses, pockets, and so on, and they found that when people put their phone in their jeans pocket and they bend over, it causes the power button to remain closed due to the pressure of the fold, and that sends the SOS signal or powers down their phone. They designed a product that has human error associated to it because they clearly didn't test it in the right environments. They fucked up. Guess what? The next model had it on the side. They fixed it. How many people have ever thought of that in recent times? Nobody. Life goes on. It happens. But you have to learn from it. I know that's really stupid simple and everybody knows that, but don't beat yourself up. It could be a $1 billion mistake, but the future will result in billions if you fix it properly. Number 10, the pain of hard work hurts less than the pain of regret. I personally am extremely proud of the 10, 12, 14-hour days that I have done over the past decade. I know that's not for everybody. I know not everybody wants to do that. I'm proud of the 4:30 a.m. wake-up calls on the West Coast to take calls on the East Coast. I'm proud of the 5 a.m. flights. I'm proud of all the work and relationships and growth that I've seen over the past decade. And all of that comes at the backside of work. None of it would be possible without the hard work. Hard work is hard. It's why it's called that. So not everybody's willing to do it. And so if you're in a position where you are just swimming like the rest of the fucking fish out there, not doing anything spectacular, or you want to do something more spectacular, you have to do things that are different, that are abnormal, that are hard. And so it's worth it because not everybody's willing to do it. But you have to prioritize those things. But If you don't want to give up 6 p.m. religious daily dinners with your fiance or partner, don't do that. That's okay. But for any of those who want to do something a little bit different and have a crazy adventure of not only their career, but their goddamn life, it comes at the cost of hard work. And let's normalize that. It's okay. Because the upside, finding purpose, is the most amazing thing that you can ever come across. And so I wake up every goddamn day with so much purpose and intent that alone brings me so much joy. But it's all a result of hard work. I can't believe it's been 10 years. I can't believe that I took that job on July 3rd. I remember sending the response email on July 4th. I knew it was a holiday. And then started a month before I actually graduated college in August that year. And it's been a hell of a ride. I'm so stoked for the next decade, for the next 2, 3, 4 decades, because I'm so aware of how long I could potentially live that I'm not scared as much of anything. Like, I want to just live every single day with so much goddamn purpose and so much energy to make sure that if I did die early, I know that I've lived a lifetime a few times. Thanks to anybody listening. Thanks to anybody who's helped me along in my career. Thanks to anybody who has stayed in contact with me over the years and who has been such a supporter. There is like a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen of you who religiously always support me in DMs on anything that I do. And those people, I don't need 1,000 of you. I don't need 5,000 of you. I don't need 10,000 of you. Those fucking 30 to 50 people, you guys are everything. And so I'm stoked. I'm really, really excited for what's to come. I feel like I'm still 22. I feel like I'm still getting going. And that's the best part. And so I hope everybody enjoyed this. I'm really, really fortunate to still be here and to still be in design and to still be stoked to draw sneakers. I don't know why I said that so weird. I'm stoked to still draw sneakers. And hopefully, if you're a designer too, hopefully that remains for a decade plus as well. Like, subscribe. I don't tell people to subscribe enough. Please do it. It really helps. I'd mean the world. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for listening.